This review is unpaid, but at the end of it, the motors in this review will be listed for sale, and I do stand to make a profit from that. So I don't think it's colored my review, but with that disclosure out of the way, here's the video. Hey folks, welcome back to my parents' garage. You've probably seen me fly my Gravity Defiant. You've also probably seen me fly my relatively light Fresh Breeze with the Atom 80 that I got from Paramotor NC. You may have even seen me fly, it's back there in that black hole, the AliExpress Paramotor that I got that's powered by the RC airplane engine. That's a fun one, you should check those videos out. But today, I figured I'd step it up a notch. So, time to go pro. Alright, so full disclosure, I did not go out and buy a flat top. The flat tops, as far as I know, are no longer made, but they were made and sold by a relatively infamous member of the paramotor community who also made and sold the Dominator wing. I've made a video on that. But they're in old design, and I'm interested to see what all the fuss is about, because the people who sell them say that they're the safest thing on the market and they're the only thing worth flying. I don't know if that's true or not, but luckily John of Remote Alaska Missions, the same guy who had the Dominator wing, brought these down from Alaska. He switched over to a PAP frame and he wants to sell these, but first he's gonna let me fly one. So I'm gonna put one of these together, give you my initial thoughts about it, and then we're going to fly the thing. Here we go. Alright, so I actually have two flat tops, as you may have noticed. I've got a Minari and a Vitarazi. I think this Minari one is at F200, but it's got a broken engine mount. So I've got to get that fixed before trying to sell it, and I'm also not going to be flying it, obviously, with the broken engine mount. But the frames are identical. This one looks like it's a MI-19 motor based on the airbox, as far as I can tell. A Helix propeller. Both of these were brought down here by John of Remote Alaska Missions. And we're going to go through them and see what all the fuss is about. So the first thing I notice is that the frame actually comes apart in 5 pieces, which is interesting. It's got pre-tension netting, which is pretty taut. I'm impressed on that. But it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5th piece over top of the pilot's head. So that's interesting. Usually you see quadrants that split down the middle, but there are a lot of Velcro straps. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Did I count that right? 12 straps? Now, something like my Fresh Breeze here, when it goes together, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So almost double the Velcro strappage, but it should still come apart fairly easily. So on the frames I've got, the pull starter pulley is riveted on, it's captive, so it's not something you can remove, which means this upper hoop section stays with the rest of the main frame, and then you've got the 4 quadrants. These are double hooped, and they're surprisingly light. I really like that. They look like they're well built, so rivets in all the right places. The welds all look pretty decent. I'm not a welder, but you know, they're fairly uniform. Definitely look better than my AliExpress setup. And they're very light. I mean, with a double hoop, I think this is actually lighter than my Fresh Breeze. So, double hoops, comes apart fairly small. Just to give you a side-by-side here, since they're similar frame design, this is my Fresh Breeze, and this is the flat top. The flat top is wider, and it's wider the whole way up. But it is shorter than my Fresh Breeze by, you know, a solid 8-10 inches. Interesting. I didn't think they'd break down this small, but, you know, it's not bad. So then we've got harnesses. These harnesses don't look anything like what I've ever seen before. I've got one here with the reserve on it, and the other does not. So we're going to try to mount this one with the reserve, but the harness is, it's very bare bones. It does have a seat board, but there's not a whole lot to it. So let's see if I can throw one on the Moster equipped flat top here. Yeah, that's right. I was very confused because I thought there weren't any straps for the shoulders and it just sat like this, but no, there are. We'll just buckle that. Looks like it goes up there. Now this is interesting. I think I put it on with the swing arm in the wrong place, but I'm trying to undo this tangle, this cross here. And if I go this way, obviously it just tries to twist all this. So it's like, oh, I'll just remove the harness from the swing arm, but these aren't swing arms and they're not removable. Are they? Like, that's sewn on. Yeah, that doesn't come off. That's attached permanently. If you get a different harness, you've got to permanently attach it to the side bars. That's weird. Okay, so bada bing, bada boom. All set to fly. The arms here don't swing, so they're just like that. I'm interested to know how that changes the effect in flight, but we've got very large chunks of aluminum plugging into the bars on the main frame with huge Velcro straps on both sides. I mean, that is stout. I will give it one thing. It's definitely well built. The welds look great. The fitment is fantastic. I don't know how beat up this thing is. The tachometer shows 23.8 hours, so I mean, it's definitely been flown. This harness just isn't anything I've flown before. It's not something I'm used to, so it'll be interesting. But it is put together physically pretty well. So let's see what it weighs. All right, if you can't tell, I'm a pretty scrawny guy, weighing in today at a whopping 160. What is that? Call it 166. That's interesting. You sit on it. The whole motor is lower, so the frame's on the ground and I'm sitting in the frame. I'm just keeping myself from rocking forward, but huh. All right. Shoulder strap. Shoulder strap. Weird. Okay. Okay, that's different. Okay, well, it's very strange. There's a lot of weight relatively far back, so I feel like I'm being bent over backwards. And I know this isn't adjusted for me, but Jesus, the gonads, man. I don't like, just standing here, I don't like this harness. Not very comfortable on the shoulders. Let's see what it weighs in at. 229 pounds. Do the math, future me. Throw that on the screen. 229 pounds. Yeah, it's this seems comfortable. Like, I can see how this would be comfortable in flight. It sounds creaky, but here, I'll just show you. Fuck. All right, so the harness is kind of strange. There's these shoulder straps, which don't really have much padding, by the way. They're really digging in. But there's no sternum strap across the chest like I'd normally have. Then there's a three-way, I know a lot of hay is made about this, but it's a quick release. So if I pull this, God, I'm gonna drop the whole thing if I pull that. But basically, if you pull this little hook lets go, which releases left and right, but that's also what the main thrust of the leg straps are on. I won't show you too low, I know nobody wants to get jealous, but that falls away and your leg straps are off, your left and right stomach falls away. Now that's great for quick egress in the event of, say, a water landing, but I would counter with, why are you flying low over the water and need to land in the water? I don't know, I'm not super thrilled with a one point of failure kind of situation, but I guess that's the way it is. Comes with a reserve, so Got that going for me at least. Reserve pocket's in a decent spot. The routing makes sense. Yeah, let's see if we can get this thing started. Definitely a little clunky to run with. Fast release, ready? That makes sense. I'm okay with that. I don't like the idea of it coming off in flight, but it's got this Velcro thing that holds the handle to the side, so whatever. Oh, please, sir. Please, sir, I'm so thirsty. Oh, please, sir. All right, this fuel tank setup is interesting. You can actually run two tanks side by side. It's got this little U piece of aluminum that, you know, cotter pins up there. But basically, if you took that out, you could have two of these, one here, run double tanks. I don't know why they don't just make a single larger tank, but I guess it is cheaper to run one mold. So they got that going for them. The fill is actually in a halfway decent spot. I don't hate that. Easy to get to. Tank looks pretty small though. I don't know what the actual size is, but I'd reckon somewhere around 2 gallons, 8 liters, something like that. Wow, okay, just walking up to it from here, I can see why it feels so heavy, because your back sits here, and there's all this room before you actually get to the engine. Unlike something like the Fresh Breeze or even the Defiant, where the motor is like, you know, 2 or 3 inches away. This is like, what is that? You know, solid 6 to 8 inches before you get to the motor mounts. All right, so this motor was not previously owned by me. I don't know how much of this is stock and how much of this is modification, but we've got what looks like a one-way valve there for the fuel. The cap itself is not vented, and it does just have a wax paper top for the seal. Not super thrilled about that. I'd like to see a rubber O-ring on my caps, but whatever. We've got not a Polini squeeze bulb, but a squeeze bulb nonetheless. Up to an inline filter, up to the carburetor, and we haven't even talked about the throttle. This is just a still weed eater throttle, like straight up. That's exactly what it reminds me of. Just pull and go. Looks like it's either been modified or broken. There's supposed to be this safety where you have to clasp the back of it to be able to squeeze the front of it, and I'm assuming that's the kill switch. We'll find out here momentarily. It looks like one would be start and one way would be kill. I mean, it's a little big, little round. Reminds me of the original Vitarazi brand throttles that nobody likes. And there's no adjustment on the strap, which is kind of worn out. So that's concerning. Hey, this throttle cable is really freaking long. Holy crap. Is that even in the shot? Yeah, I don't like that. We're gonna have to... Better. All right, I don't really want to pick it up. I like the pole handle. That's actually really in a nice place. I'm used to having it up here, but having it down to the side, that's actually nice. I like that. No good way to hold this. I prefer throttles that hinge on the bottom for my lower 2 fingers instead of at the top. Clear prop?
Okay. 5 hours later. Shut up, I've always wanted to do that.
All right, I think pre-flight expectations are important to not be terrified of what happens during the flight, especially when you're flying new equipment. So a few things. I did a hang test. I got ahead and strung myself up over at the RC field closest to me, and I realized something really strange. When I'm out of the seat, the hang point for the seat is so far forward and the swing arms don't move. So I should stop calling them swing arms. The bumpers, the hooking point, whatever. So when you lean forward to get out of the seat, the whole machine pitches down severely. So when I'm running to take off, I'm going to expect it to take longer because I'll need to build more speed because the motor is actually going to be pushing me down into the ground a little bit. When I do finally get in the air, this also doesn't have, as far as I can tell, any kind of torque compensation. So I expect to turn to the right pretty vigorously. I've offset my hang points, one forward slightly of the other, the right one slightly forward, which will actually point my whole motor to the right, but swing me to the left underneath the wing, which should cancel that out. So, yeah, fingers crossed on that. I'm flying the Gin Vantage because it's a light wing that doesn't require a whole lot of running speed to get up overhead. I expect that'll help with the relatively clunky harness setup. Let's give it a shot.
Ready, set. I left my remote at home. All right, clear prop. Let's go fly a flat top. Monarch traffic, green-red powered paraglider, taking off, departing to the north. Monarch traffic. All right. Sorry about that takeoff, folks. It took a lot of small steps to bump my 360. Woo! Oh wow. Okay, so this is interesting. The lines are super close to the cage when I'm under power. That's kind of sketchy. I guess it's a thick hoop, so it won't kill me, right? Nice to be off the ground. It's kind of hot today. I'm in the air on a flat top. Hell yeah. Alright, first impressions. Kind of counterintuitive. The width of the hang points means that with no inputs, it rocks a lot. Under torque, I don't know if you guys can tell, but woo! A lot of torque rock. It's very active. The weight shift is interesting. It is actually a lot more effective than I thought it would be, and it is this whole sliding seat get up. So if I go all the way over, I command a pretty respectable turn. So that's interesting. In flight, this harness is really loose. I'd like to have a sternum strap, but it's comfortable. That takeoff was difficult though. I felt the cage hitting the bottom of my feet as I was running, and I didn't want to make bigger steps and get my feet cut off, but I had to get speed. So ground handling, I don't like this frame, but in the air, so far so good. It's a very wide open harness. Other than these arms being in the way, everything's very presented, like super loose. Not in a dangerous way, just like in a very relaxed way. I like this actually. In any other paramotor harness, you still feel like you're wearing a backpack. And this, seat-wise, like with the big bars wide across here, this feels more like sitting on an exercise ball. Yeah, exercise ball. It's comfortable in flight. Even with my adjustment where the whole motor tries to fly to the right, which swings the wing to the left, got my right hooking point one notch forward. I still find myself having to lean to the left under, you know, cruise power. So, yes, I was correct. Basically 0 torque compensation. But, I mean, here we are, you know? It flies. And honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. The weight shift is a lot better than I expected. It swings. It feels like you're rolling across an exercise ball. Like there's a middle kind of hump, and then you just kind of like fall off to the side. It's very so intermediate weight shift doesn't seem to change much. You know, there isn't a whole lot of in between that doesn't require some core workout to hold, but whatever works. Definitely try to keep my expectations neutral, but you know, this gear has a reputation, and it was hard to ignore that. But I'm comfortable. So, all right. One thing I am noticing is these bars. They have a sharp edge to them, a corner right at the back. I don't know why that's not rounded off. It's poking my bicep, and it is like, I mean, that one's starting to turn a little red. I'll be interested to know if I've got a bruise tomorrow. Well, looks like somebody's got a football game? I guess it is Friday night, isn't it? I want to come over here and check out the quarry. I've been flying in the area for a while, but I've never came and looked at the giant hole in the dirt. Yeah, just to show you what I was talking about though, getting in and out of the seat tips the whole motor. Watch this. So I'm in the seat, neutral core, neutral legs, and then I rock forward to start getting out of the seat. The whole thing pitches down. I actually can feel myself speed up a little bit. So that's different. Oh man, they got a lake out here in front of this quarry. These suckers been holding out on me. I've been looking for a place to swim. Okay, I'm gonna check my 6. I have a not so friendly helicopter that likes to fly through here. Yeah, still clear. The hang points are a bit lower. Actually, I'm noticing that I have to pull quite a bit lower than I'm used to engage brake. Because typically right around shoulder, the brake is, you know, it's pulled, it's engaged. But here it's just barely taking out the slack. Oh, no kidding. There's a couple of people over here at this middle school flying an RC plane. Let's go say hi. You're doing pretty good, guy. Bopping around. I can't tell what kind of plane it is, but yeah, it's all right. Lots of loops. He likes doing loops. Yeah, so I'd like to see a little more padding on the thighs, I guess, and a lot more padding on the shoulder harness, but not bad. Yeah, it smells. Nobody waves. Yeah, in a climb, that exercise ball analogy I told you, it's hard to stay off to the side on the climb. So I'd definitely like to see more torque compensation. Oh, look at you and your fancy golf course. Okay, actually I take that back. Some of those fairways would be nice to fly paramotor from. Is that a carousel? There's a whole ass carousel just hiding in the woods. Huh. Alright. The stuff you see. I wonder what this landing is gonna be like. Because you gotta like, you feel like you're falling out of the damn thing. And look how far it tips. Like, this is no hands, feet down. And the whole thing is like leaned way forward. What's really interesting though is weight shift. Weight shift out of the seat is still just as responsive as in the seat. That's different. Usually when you're out of the seat, because you can't, you know, pick one leg up and put one down since they're both down, weight shift doesn't really have an effect on a paramotor swing arm. But this one, the whole seat slides side to side over that feeling of that exercise ball, like I mentioned. So it's like, I mean, look. That's a right weight shifted turn. Very interesting. All right, let's go bug some rich people. Yeah, I'm not pulling a very deep turn because it takes a lot more effort to drop my hand any further than that because it's so low already. So the clipping point's pretty low, which actually I like. These risers are just super short. On any other wing, I'd be okay. Oh, it's warmer down here. That's nice. All right. Only fly as low as you're willing to flare. So I'm probably not going to go super low. Oh, right over the power lines. Great example, Avery. Jesus Christ. Hey, that's rain. Let's go home. More speed, please. Come on, flat top. Outrun the rain. I'm gonna outrun the rain. It's not moving fast. Monarch traffic, green red paired paraglider, short final, fill beside the barn, landing south to north Monarch. Looks like the windsock is dead. That's nice. Okay, committed. Oh, it's very creaky. That's kind of disconcerting. Ugh. Oh! Alright. Okay. Alright. Oh! God! Stop flying, please. Jesus Christ, my... Oh. Oh. Punch right to the... Wow, alright. I obviously had the strap sitting right in the wrong place, because that was painful. I'm gonna feel that one tomorrow. Wow. The hanging didn't hurt. It was the sudden jolt of running that really got my knickers. Get me out of this. That's why it's got the quick release so you can bail out. Oh. Wow. Jeez.
All right, so that's the flat top. It's bad. It's an old design. It's a lot like the Dominator wing, but on the ground and, well, you know, takeoff and landing, performance is poor compared to modern frames, in my opinion. It would be fine on a trike, but I would not recommend this to any beginner. The geometry is just bad by modern standards. All the modern frames do it better. The actual flying wasn't terrible. There's no torque offset, but the arms are pretty far spaced apart, so it has good weight shift authority. But yeah, taking off and landing with that harness and no swing arms was just very, very uncomfortable. And I almost couldn't get my Gin Vantage, which is a very easy wing to launch, almost couldn't get it overhead. So unless you're putting this on a trike, I wouldn't recommend that for a beginner. But overall, it's a well-built motor, if not an antiquated design. Yeah, let me know what you thought about it. Drop a comment down below. Would you fly a flat top? And if you do fly a flat top, how on the nose was this review? Again, I tried to make this pretty middle of the road, but at the end, this is listed for sale, and the link is in the description down below. So that's disclosure. I'm letting you know that I stand to make a profit if these sell, but I don't think I've let that color my review too bad. But yeah, let me know what you think. Make sure you're hitting the likes and subscribe buttons, and we'll check you on the next one. Thanks for watching.